Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Neil, and welcome to today's meditation practice. Is there anyone here for the first time? Okay, excellent, great. Welcome, thank you. Thanks, great for attending. We just have a few announcements before we get started, things that are coming up, and some housekeeping. So if you haven't already silenced your phones, please do so at this time. Put your phones away so you can be fully present for the talk and meditation. If you must use your phone, please do so outside in the meditation hall. So this week, we invite you to join for our weekly Tuesday events with the Medicine Buddha practice at 6 p.m. and our public talk at 7 p.m. This week, our Tuesday evening talk by Geshe Pendula will speak on the 37 practices of a bodhisattva. This is part 6 of an ongoing series he's doing. Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m., the Drepung Loseling monks conduct evening prayers for His Holiness the Dalai Lama's long life and other teachers. On Thursdays at 4:30 p.m., the Loseling monks conduct the Protector Puja for smooth journeys, success of interviews, and medical treatments, new businesses, etc. Our popular 5-class foundation series continues on March 14th with Vipassana meditation, cultivating personal insight into our inner world of thoughts, reactions, and emotions. This one-day retreat via Zoom focuses on special insight meditation for gaining insight into one's body, sensations, and mind, and mental processes through the application of skillful mindfulness. This series is a prerequisite for the intermediate series and other retreats that are later this year. Beginning today, join the Drepung Loseling monks on their Mystical Arts Tibet tour, March 1st through the 8th at Kwangming Temple, one of Atlanta's oldest Buddhist temples in historic Grant Park, for a mandala sand painting and a live exhibition, pujas, and dharma talk with our resident teacher, Geshe Pende. So that starts today, this afternoon. And then today, we're having the basics of meditation, but the first of every month, we have a chai social hour, which you're all welcome to join out in the gallery. That's the first Sunday of each month. It's hosted by our members and volunteers every first Sunday of the month. As a reminder, so that's it for activities. So as a reminder, please don't park on the grass in the back. You can park along the driveway or behind the building. Excuse me. Don't park on the driveway, just in the designated parking spots. But if the lot is full, overflow parking can be found via Skyland Drive in the John Lewis Elementary School outside of the school operating hours. So you can park there and then walk through to the center. So information on all the events can be found in the lobby or on our website, drepung.org. If anyone's interested in volunteer opportunities to get more involved or supporting our center and programs, please see me or anyone with a name tag or our volunteer coordinator, Michael Duffel. If you are interested in becoming a member to support our ongoing programs and take advantage of the benefits like discounts on courses, access to our library, retreats, applications are available in the library, and you can also register online. There's a donation box near the entrance to this room. Your generous support helps us continue to offer programs and services like this to our Atlanta community and to those around the world through our online platforms. So that's it. So now please stand as we invite our guest teacher, Tim Harrison, Associate Director of Emory University's Compassion Center, to come in for today's practice.
Is this working? Can you hear me okay? In the back? Yeah? No, not yet? They're probably adjusting. Is it working now? Good? In the back? Okay. It's wonderful to be here. Did someone lose their glasses? They may work for me.
Thank you. That's right. Probably.
So, It's really good to be here. Before the pandemic, we, from the Compassion Center at Emory, would come up here every Thursday night, I think, and do a evening meditation. And some of our friends here we've known since those days. Pandemic changed a lot of things, but it's wonderful at this point for us to be able to, from Emory University, where I work with the CBCT program, Cognitively Based Compassion Training, to be invited to come here once a month for the basics of meditation, and send one of our senior teachers here to offer this 1-hour introduction. If you don't know much about Emory University's collaboration with the Drepung Loseling Monastery, please look it up. It's really extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing that's happening here in Atlanta. It's been going on for 25 years and probably will continue to flourish for many, many years to come. And it's touched many people's lives, both institutions, but then also this relationship between them. So I think I'll start by just curious, I've already met a few people who are new to Drepung. Who's coming here for the first time today? Oh yeah, wonderful. A dozen people or so. Who would consider themselves very new to meditation altogether? Okay, also, wonderful. Great. Who's pretty experienced with meditation? Not an expert, just experienced. I'm no expert either, but I've certainly tried it a lot. So we have a variety of folks. I want to make sure I kind of offer something for everyone. So I'll start by just saying a word about what meditation might have to do with compassion, because our program at Emory is called Compassion Training, or Cognitively Based Compassion Training. And if you've been coming here to Drepung Loseling and studying Tibetan Buddhism, or any form of Buddhism really, you know that compassion is central to the goal of many of the practices from this religious tradition. But what's really wonderful and has evolved over the last, I'd say 30 or 40 years really, much thanks to dialogues with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and scientists, researchers. But what's evolved is a recognition that this thing we call compassion, which is just really this desire we have to care for others, to wish others well, to wish that others could be free from their struggles. And if we've ever been in a relationship, we know what that feels like. If we have children, we know what that feels like. But we see, when we feel close to someone, we know that they're struggling. It's just natural to want them to be free from that. So it's just been, it feels so important to me. And sitting here today, for some reason, it feels especially precious, to live in a time where there's a recognition kind of worldwide. We see it blooming as we travel across the world, and our programs are in dozens of countries now and dozens of languages. But a recognition that this thing we call compassion is a universal human capacity and value. It's valued across every successful social community in the world. Anyone that's lasted has compassion at its core. So it's universal, and yet this Buddhist approach of understanding compassion, which has been going on for centuries, really, millennia, has some very valuable insights about what it means to feel compassion, to act wisely on these feelings of compassion, not squander it, so to speak, and how to cultivate it and protect it. So Dr. Negi, Lobsang Tenzin Negi, many of you know as Geshe-la. He's the spiritual director here. He's founded this center at Emory and has developed this program, Cognitively Based Compassion Training, CBCT, that I have the honor of working with, and some of my colleagues are here. Cynthia, nice to see you. And Penny, and if I'm not seeing you, I apologize. But he developed this program and has worked with researchers to see how it works, why it works, who it works for. And it's not based on Buddhism. It's drawn from Buddhism. But what it's based on is a basic universal psychological understanding of the human mind and body. So it seems to work for everyone. Or let's say every type of person. It doesn't work for every person, but or maybe it does. Remains to be seen. But it works for a lot of folks from all over the world, different faiths, faith traditions, different social situations, different communities. So I'm here really as an expert in that sphere. I'm not in any way an expert in the sphere of Buddhist studies. And I was reminded of a framing recently that I thought I would share today, especially for those who came here because of your attraction to Buddhism. And so I'll go ahead and apologize that it's me sitting here and give you the opportunity to work with your own mental expectations. Maybe you thought there would be a Lama here, but there's not. So we have to make the best of what life offers us. That's one of our lessons in CBCT. But in Buddhism, there's a concept that there are these two realities. Yeah? What are they, Buddhist friends? No. This is the ultimate reality and the conventional or relative reality. Does that sound familiar? Maybe this isn't as familiar to everyone as I thought it would be. But you often hear that when you start reading a Tibetan Buddhist text. And the idea is this ultimate reality is somehow so hard to see and understand that most of us don't really get that. And it takes a lot of training to get there. So the conventional or relative reality is this reality that we're all experiencing every day. And that's the one we're used to. So there's a lot more to say about that. I'm not the expert in that distinction. But what gives me some comfort, because the ultimate reality seems so out of reach for me, kind of a normal person. Come in, sit down, please, welcome. Is that in Tibetan Buddhism, even within the realm of this relative reality or the conventional reality, they have what they call the relatively true relative reality and the relatively false relative reality. In other words, in this realm that we all share together, we realize that our mind can sometimes see things for the way they are, and then sometimes we get confused and we don't quite see things the way they are. We see things through a more distorted lens. That's relatively false. And that by cleaning that lens, so to speak, and this is why I'm trying to get to the meditation part, we can start seeing things in a more relatively actual or true reality. Maybe not the ultimate reality, which you'd have to read all those books and study with masters, Tibetan Buddhist masters to do. But for us, when we talk about basics of meditation, what we're hoping for is that these practices that we do can help us clean that lens of our own mind and begin to see things more for what they are. I suspect we've all been, I was thinking about this and how painful it is in my life and the people I know, at these moments when we feel like we're unfairly judged, when people put labels on us or see us in some narrow way. Can be quite surprising, maybe not surprising for some of us. We might be used to that. But it's painful. And I've been thinking, reading the news, it's hard not to read the news these days and see the damage that can be done in a world where whole groups of people develop these views of other groups of people that are based on a very narrow and kind of delimiting way of seeing others. So this does psychological and physical harm. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Is this too conceptual? So when we think about training compassion, which is what this Emory program is designed to do, we're not really talking about training compassion. That's what it's called. What we're training are the ingredients that support our compassion. We already have compassion. We're human beings. We care for others. But that care can get limited. It can get narrow. It can get distorted. We can fall prey to a kind of narrative of this is my in group, and over there is the out group. Does that make sense? So to train compassion, one of the things we seek to do is to get clearer about the way we are viewing the reality and the way we ourselves may have fallen, I was going to say fallen prey to. Yeah, that's how I think of it. Fallen prey to the forces of our society or other forces that lead us to judge other people unfairly. You know, being aware how painful it is to be judged that way. It makes sense for me to want to try not to judge other people that way. So I'd like to introduce today a practice. It's actually the third out of 8 practices in CBCT, and this is our book, Training Compassion. I think there's display copies out there. But the third practice in the sequence is still a very beginning practice, and the one I'd like us to explore today. It's called, in CBCT, it's called Enhancing Self-Awareness. In the science that studies these things, it's called open monitoring. And it's basically a practice to begin to notice when our own mind is getting caught up in these kinds of projections onto the world, especially onto others. When we are getting caught up in the types of judgments or distorted views that it can cause so much harm and cause so much stress to ourselves as well. Before we jump into that, I just want to offer you a little thought experiment. Have you ever had an experience in your life where something happened and you thought, oh, this is really great? And then it turns out that it wasn't so great after all. I hear laughter, yeah. Or the opposite. Maybe you have an experience in your life where something happens that just you think, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Could be something ended that you were hoping would continue. Oh, I can't believe this. Can't believe this happened. But then a little bit later you realize, wait a minute, this is actually a good thing. This was it's good that this happened. What comes to mind? Anyone have any short examples they could share? I see smiles on people's faces. Are there any simple examples that come to mind that you could share with the group? Yes, from the back. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times we think that breakups are really bad. Like we feel heartbroken and we feel torn to pieces like we lost somebody, but sometimes they are for the better too. Because we may not notice at that time that maybe that person's not for us, and then we run our path with them, and then later on you see yourself grow from the experiences that you had with them as well.
So you're talking, I missed the very first sentence. Are you talking about relationships with people? Breakups with people, yes. Yes. So for those online, and I'm sorry if you didn't hear the comment, but sometimes it can feel really bad when a relationship ends. Everyone's had this experience? We're all in this together, right? And yet later we may realize that was for the best. That's what I was hearing. This very good insight. I definitely have had that experience. And we think, well, in the end, that was the better thing to happen. But if someone had come to me that first day and said, and I'm just torn up about this, and then they said, Tim, this might be for the best. I'd be like, what? I'm not sure I would feel that way about it, right? And yet there would be some wisdom in that, perhaps. This practice is an opportunity to help us keep this in mind, to stay mindful of the fact that our own mind loves to tell these stories about things. Like, oh, this is the best. This is the best thing ever. This person's the best person ever. Or this is the worst. This is the worst thing ever. Or this is the worst person ever. These stories are very attractive. They're very appealing. It's very, it would be comforting to think that we understood things so clearly, right? That it was that simple. This is the bad, this is the good. And yet our own experience, especially as we grow and we experience all sorts of things in life, is that it's usually not that simple. And so this practice is a chance to really slow down and observe our mind in a way that can free us a little bit from that constant judging of this is great, this is terrible. And that is really at the heart of compassion training, because when we go out into the world and we want to extend our compassion, we realize, too bad, our mind is caught up in these stories about, well, these people deserve my compassion and these people don't. Yeah. And it would be nice if we could flip a switch and suddenly care for everyone equally, if that's our aspiration. But it turns out we are all caught in this relative or conventional reality. And we all need to do a little more work, it turns out, to notice those patterns in our own mind and then move past them. So that's what this practice is designed for. If you've never done it before, it's a little strange, because the instruction is to let the mind really do whatever it wants. And you just watch it. It's not like daydreaming. In daydreaming, you get lost and you chase these thoughts and stuff. But in this practice, you actually just observe that. So if I were to say, for example, notice the next thought that comes into your head right now. What'd you notice? Nothing. Oh, that's interesting. Lucky you. Did everyone have nothing? Yeah, you were looking at me like, why is he being so quiet? What's he going to say next? Or maybe you noticed the flowers. Yeah. It turns out we don't actually control what our mind's doing most of the time. It just does. Maybe it'll do nothing, but maybe it'll think of the flowers. Maybe you're still carrying some concerns from earlier today before you came in here. Maybe you're wishing I would get onto the meditation. But that actually was it. Like when I asked you to notice what thought comes next, that was the meditation. That was it. And by practicing that, this kind of curiosity, this not knowing what's going to come next. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's a question. Sometimes it's a concern. Sometimes it's noticing a sensation. Oh, now that it's quiet, I realize I might need to go to the restroom, or who knows what's going to come up. But by stepping back and just observing, a number of wonderful things happen. A number of wonderful things happen. So let's just try it, and we'll talk about the benefits in a moment. It does help to do some settling practices before you just jump off the ledge, so to speak, and just suddenly start observing. It helps to put to put the body in a comfortable position. A position where most of us are seated, I think. If you need to lay down, you can. You could stand if you're uncomfortable. Absolutely fine to stand. You can stand in the back if you want. We all have different bodies, so we have to figure out what's comfortable for us. The classic position is seated with the spine relatively vertical, not too chest not thrown out too far, but also not slumped forward too much. If we all work on the computer all day, then we probably have a tendency to hunch a little. So we often like to encourage rolling the shoulders around, rolling the shoulders back, dropping them down from the ears, relaxing the shoulders, giving permission for everything to relax that can relax. So the facial muscles can relax, the eyes can relax. If you're comfortable taking some deeper breaths, softening the belly, sometimes that can really help the body just settle into being here in the present moment. The meditation posture is designed to help us balance between being overly agitated or distracted and being overly sleepy or foggy. So we can think of it as this state of calmness and alertness. And with each in-breath, imagine if you enjoy this, just imagine you feel that oxygen waking up your body and mind when you breathe in. And as you breathe out, releasing tensions and agitation. So just take one more of these deep breaths, breathing in alertness and breathing out tensions. And then we can let the breath go back to its own rhythm. And invite you to choose something to pay attention to that feels settling or calming. If you're familiar with breath meditation, you can choose the sensations of the breath in the nostrils or the belly. If you like, you could just hear the sounds in the room. If meditation ever feels unsettling, it can help to just notice the sensations of the body being supported by the cushion or chair. We can even put our attention on these sensations, that feeling of the earth just supporting us. So just choose one of these things to pay attention to, the breath or the sound, or being grounded, held by the earth. And see if you can rest your attention there just for a few moments. Noticing if the mind wanders. And if it does, we just notice and say, oh, okay, attention wandering. That's okay. Just gently release and come back to whatever you've chosen, the breath, the sounds, or the grounding. So this practice is like an anchor for our attention. And when you feel the attention has settled, when the body and mind feel a little more settled, relaxed, alert, that's when you can take this next step of just releasing the attention from any one thing. And opening out the awareness to simply allow anything that wants to arise in the mind to arise. If that feels like a big leap, it can be nice to just start with sensations and say, well, let me just see which of my sensations is sending a signal to my mind right now. Is it my skin letting me know how the clothing feels? Or the coolness or the breeze on my hands or face? Is it the sounds or the smells? The shapes that I see or the colors? notice mental images. We often think in images, so maybe we see images of people or places in our mind. What we're seeing if we can do is simply be present with these mental formations as they arise, whatever they are. Just observing them, allowing them. So there's not a lot of effort needed for this practice other than to see if we can resist becoming entangled, resist going down a long road of analysis or judgment. Maybe the mind becomes drawn to emotions. That's absolutely fine. Or thoughts. Like planning or worrying. And so rather than trying to push any of these things away or judge them as wrong, our effort here is to simply accompany these thoughts with an awareness that, oh, this is a thought. This is a feeling. This is an image or sensation. And if there's nothing there at all, then we just rest with that. Absolutely fine. When we do notice we've been entangled and we've gone down some long path of thinking and planning, rehashing, that really is a chance to celebrate that we noticed. Oh, I just got caught by my mind. And let that go. Step back as an observer once again. We are practicing relating to these thoughts, feelings, emotions, just as the sky relates to the clouds that pass through it. The space of the sky is vast and really has no preference for the type of cloud, small clouds, big clouds, dark clouds. It just allows them all to come and go, knowing that when the weather changes, the clouds will also change. And though some clouds may seem dark and heavy, if we look closely, we see they're just clouds. They're just changing mist. Just like the ever-changing landscape of our own mind. And if it ever just feels like too much, too overwhelming, please take care of yourself, and you could come back to focusing on the breath or sounds in the room or feelings in the body. So there's so many potential benefits to this practice. One is to become more familiar with what our mind likes to do when we're not watching it. Maybe take a moment and reflect. What sorts of patterns have we noticed? What sorts of thinking or judging or ruminating, what sorts of patterns have we observed in this practice? What does our mind like to do? What is it drawn to? We can reflect, what is it like to notice how the mind is working, this distinguishing between the thoughts of a situation, the thoughts about a situation, and the situation itself. Seeing that the thought of a person is not the same as the person. As we come toward the end of our practice, I'll just invite each one of us to reflect on what we observed in our own mind. What did we learn? What insights do we notice or have? If there's no insights, that's fine. Just what was it like? How did it feel? How do I feel now compared to when I started? And if there are any insights, or even a sense of relief, relaxation, sometimes that happens. We just set the intention to carry that insight forward into our lives, or carry that ability, strengthened ability to remember that getting caught up in these strings of thinking, worrying, analyzing. These are things that we have choice about. We can choose which of these mental impulses to follow and which ones we just let go. Not always easy, but we have choice and we can strengthen that ability to choose. And finally, we just dedicate any benefit from this practice that we've received, that we've cultivated. Dedicate any benefit from coming here today to explore this practice together. If there's any benefit, may that benefit not only be for me or for us in this room, but also may this effort have ripple effects as we go back into the wider world, our society. May we as a group carry a greater sense of equanimity, insight, clarity, and may that have ripple effects across the whole world. Thank you. So feel free to stretch, come back into our social space together. Thank you for that, for doing that, experimenting with that. What did you notice? Especially if you're newer to the practice, I'd love to hear if that made any sense at all. Or I'm looking at some of the folks I know who are new. Or if you have concerns or questions, or just want to share with the group any insights or reflections. We have time. Yes? Oh, that's a nice metaphor. Yeah. For those online who can't hear, I'll just say the insight was that it feels like the mind can be like a zooming in and zooming out process. So it can get caught up zooming in, and then we can keep trying to zoom back out. But then there's a tendency to keep zooming in. That's really nice. That's what it feels like to me too. Oh, I just keep this, I really have to figure this out right now. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, no, I don't. I'm in a meditation hall. Oh, wait. Yes, someone else. I saw another hand. Yes.
was that still my mind is monkey mind, but the aha is that when this is going on in my mind, I'm not paying attention to the pain in my knee.
So this insight, she mentioned the monkey mind analogy, which was common in Buddhism, and it's pointing to the idea that our mind really likes to jump around like a monkey in a tree, just all over it. So monkey mind is a great phrase for what we might notice. But then also this insight that when I'm caught up in monkey mind, maybe I've become free from worrying about the pain in my knee. So that's really interesting how that works, yeah. It's the research on meditation, the early successes in the research field back in the 90s was actually on pain management. And some of the earliest studies showed that this exact practice that we just did can alleviate chronic pain symptoms. And the reason is not because the knee hurts less, but rather I focus on it less. So if that's where the choice comes in. And I mentioned that at the end. We start to realize we have a lot more choice than we think about where we put our attention and how we use our mind. And we can these practices help us strengthen that ability to choose. Yeah, if we spend 6 hours a day focusing on the pain in my knee, that's called chronic pain. If on the other hand, I have this self-awareness that my attention has just gone to the pain in my knee, for me it's my neck. It's where my chronic pain is. Oh, there it is. Oh, that neck. Oh, God. If I notice my mind is doing that, I have an option. I can say, wait a minute, I don't have to focus on that. Actually, this actually works. And Dr. Negi Geshe Lobsang said he used it on one of his, he flies all over the world, he's in India now, who founded our program. But he had a terrible headache on a flight, one of his overnight international flights, just horrible. And he said, wait, I should do this practice that I've been teaching everyone. So I'm just going to turn my attention to, I forget what he said, maybe his hands. He said, I'm just going to feel what my hands feel like. They didn't feel like anything. They just felt like hands. They're not in pain. And he just held his attention on a different body part than the head, which was in pain. And before he knew it, he was taking a nap. And his head didn't hurt as much anymore. So thank you for bringing this up. This is a chance to really give an example of how this way of working with the mind can have very immediate and positive outcomes. I saw another hand back there.
I was just going to piggyback on that because I have a surgical knee, actually a brand new knee, only 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it hurts. And so when you said focus on something, I thought, I'm going to focus to see if I can get rid of this pain. So I thought about breathing in the fresh, healing oxygen and breathing out, releasing the pain. And what I found is it worked sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I think if I could practice this, I could get better at it.
Yeah.
So I could make it happen sometimes.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. So again, if you were online briefly, someone actually has a recent knee surgery. Congratulations, by the way. I hope that's a good thing for you. And but this effort to breathe through it, to bring some sense of relief, works sometimes, but not all the time. And I actually think that's important for this practice we just did. The point is not to somehow check out with our mind so that we're not affected by anything at all. I don't care if my knee hurts, ever. No, if our knee hurts, we should take care of it. If we have a headache that's chronic, we should figure that out. This is really important for the compassion part, too. Because when people around us are suffering, it can be tempting to just check out. Right? It can be tempting to say, let me do my meditation practice so I don't have to think about this struggling world. So it's important to say that's not the point. And also, it doesn't seem to be possible either. As you say, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If the pain is something we need to pay attention to, it will keep coming up, and we will take care of it. Likewise, I appreciate this conceptual distinction. This practice is sometimes called equanimity practice. And equanimity is that sense of being even-keeled, and reacting to everything with a kind of balanced reaction, not an extreme reaction. And they say there's a near enemy, this is from the Buddhism, a near enemy to equanimity is indifference. So we do need to be careful. We're not trying to cultivate indifference. So I'm just above it all. And even the Dalai Lama, I've seen him in a talk, do this meditation posture and say, it kind of make fun of it, like it's anesthesia. He's like, I'm just checking out. That's not the point. So this isn't. That's why this isn't the final practice in compassion training. It's number 3, and there's 5 more that come after it. But boy, it is helpful and it's stabilizing. And if you've never meditated before and you've never come here again, try that. 5-10 minutes a day, what we just did for a while. See what it's like. If you do want to learn more, keep coming back here, or Google us at the Emory Compassion Center and find these classes that we teach. Training Compassion. We have versions for general public, but also for healthcare providers, educators, people in business and leadership. And stay in touch. There's a lot of ways to keep exploring meditation in this world, and it's worth doing. So, any final? Yes.
We have a complimentary chai.
Oh, thanks for announcing that. Right. So there's complimentary chai in the lobby afterwards. It is noon. I think I'm supposed to end at noon. Right. Yes. And I'll be here. You can talk to me. You can ask questions. I don't know if my friends from the CBCT program will be staying, but if they do, that Cynthia, Penny are here. Many people know about the Emory programs if you have questions. But look us up, be in touch. Thanks for coming.